Hello everybody, welcome back to another World of Warships replay. This is the last replay that I have saved for this version of the game before the new version drops later this week, so I hope you all enjoy. Right now I'm in the Tier 9 Kitakaze in a randoms battle, and I have no support whatsoever behind me. As you can see on the minimap, none of my teammates are following me into B, and I probably would have done well not to go B myself. However, I thought there's no harm in making some presence and seeing what's going to happen. And I had no support with the exception of the Shokaku, and that's going to be a recurring theme in this replay. That aircraft carrier did an amazing job spotting for me and helping me out, and I much appreciate that, so big props to him. Thanks to his early spotting down the middle, I see the Jutland. And although Jutland is a good cap contester, I feel pretty confident against it in the Kitakaze. Just a very powerful, super high DPM gunboat. And more importantly, the Jutland doesn't have any support either. I mean, there's Sevastopol over there, so, you know, maybe radar. I assume that ship has a 12-kilometer radar like most Russian cruisers do. Maybe I'm wrong. But saving that, I mean, he ends up going A anyway. So between me and Jutland, I figure that's a fight worth taking. It's a risk, but it's a calculated risk. Right now, I'm just worried about keeping my ship angled and positioned for any engagement. So if Jutland swings around the corner and opens fire, you know, I don't have to get B right here. I end up doing it anyway because Jutland waits too long, but it's not worth risking my life for the cap circle, and I'm not really planning to. I'm ready to activate my engine boost and run out at a moment's notice. I'm also ready for torpedoes to come left or right. It takes a small adjustment to make sure I don't hit any of them. It ends up coming from the left. Jutland actually shows herself a lot closer to the A cap than I was expecting, but you know, all the same, that's fine. He pops his smoke. I pop mine as well, just in case. I don't believe that there was another ship that would have spotted me at this exact moment. The Shimakaze would have been in range, but not with that smoke cloud in the way, not with Jutland's in the way. But I use mine anyway, just in case, you know. Sometimes it's worth investing a little bit for your own safety. I also use the torpedo reload boost here, just in case Jutland's plan is to sit in that smoke. I don't really expect it to kill her, but you never know. Sometimes just pressure and zoning is enough, and in this case it is. I mean, he would have either stayed there and died, or he did what he actually did and backed out of the smoke and took a very unwinnable gunfight. You know, Jutland, again, not terrible potential for fighting and killing other destroyers, but taking on a Kitakaze in a 1v1 fight was not the smartest thing he could have done there. Absolutely not. It's not the cleanest kill on my part, but he has no choice but to fight. Flight is not an option, thanks to the threat posed by the friendly Shokaku. Saw the dive bombers hovering above. He did try to smoke up at the last minute, and earlier this week I did publish a video in the SOM, which is a replica of the Jutland, and we talked about the short burst smoke generator, but unfortunately he really bit off more than he could chew there. I mean, he had his smoke active and left it. I mean, there's nothing it can do to save you in that case. So now my concern is, okay, I got B for pretty much free, but A is, you know, covered by the enemy, and Shimakaze, it looks like, is going to cross over any minute now and challenge the B cap. So I'm kind of interested in just protecting that cap. I mean, I worked so hard for it, right? And now I'd like to work to keep it. I have no control over what my team is doing at C, after all, so our one cap circle, you know, it's in my best interest to protect it. Now, to my surprise, Shimakaze has already crossed without me getting detected in the process, and has already started flipping the B cap. So that's fine. I'm just going to head over there, but need to exercise caution. Torpedoes could have come pretty much from any point along the left. So, you know, I'm kind of turning in towards this island here in case that cover ends up being useful. But mostly I just want to get in close to the Shimakaze because even though I'm on less than half health now, Shimakaze's guns are just not that good. I mean, if I play this poorly, she should have every opportunity to kill me. But we'll see. That's a challenge I am willing to take at this moment. So she does open fire, and I do have to commend her for actually using the guns on Shimakaze. Even though they're not that powerful, it's certainly better than nothing. At the same time, I'm not sure if giving away her position was the play, and then smoking up afterwards, because now she can't see me. Now she can't see me. And just to make sure that no other ships from across the map bother me, I've also used another smoke. Again, just investing in my own safety there. And any moment now, I'm really expecting Shimakaze torps to happen, but I figure, okay, I feel like I would have seen them by now already, so she must have used them and they're on cooldown. So as soon as I figure she's, you know, out of the smoke, out of the cap circle, I'm like, all right, you know what? I've done my job. B is safe for another moment. I can't really leave it because Shimakaze could come back any minute, which she does, and I only know that thanks to the friendly Shokaku's spotting. And Shimakaze was absolutely not expecting that. There is zero recourse for her in that situation. And even though I was trying to stay parallel to where I thought torpedoes might come out, I ended up turning to get some broadside shots out there, and that ended up working out for me. I ended up just dodging all of those torpedoes, which is great. I'm not sure if that was good positioning on my part, or maybe more so luck, but but even if I had died there, I was going to make sure to take the Shimakaze with me. So, you know, my life for 2 enemy destroyers and keeping the B cap, that already would have been a pretty good game. I mean, only 38,000 damage, but you have to keep in mind that's all destroyer damage that's against enemy destroyers. So that's basically 2 full ships worth. So, doing pretty good. Now there's 2 new threats that I'm worried about. I'm worried about that enemy Kitakaze, which has a lot more health than I do, so I cannot take her in a fair fight. I'm also worried about this Bourgeon. I try to throw some torpedoes kind of in front of it, and unfortunately he ends up backing up instead of going forward, and I miss all of those torps. But I figure the torps are gonna take care of that. And I decide to shift my focus to the Kitakaze as soon as I notice her running away from my team over by the sea cap. And especially as soon as I notice the smoke. Now, I'm not really sure what my game plan is here. I mean, even fighting the Shimakaze, I took risks, and things could have gone tits up if torpedoes caught me off guard at an unexpected time. But I'd say those were calculated risks. This is probably a less calculated risk. I'm not I'm not really sure what my game plan was here. I wanted to get closer, but then I realized that Yorktown's fighter is there, so I back off. I mean, I'm not going to be able to get into the smoke before... Well, I thought maybe, you know, the proximity spotting would kick in and I would ambush the Kitakaze, but I'm not going to get that close without being spotted by the fighter planes. So instead, I just chill here to make sure Kitakaze doesn't come over into B, or even towards B. And she doesn't. She's actually trying to run away instead, and she narrowly escapes my detection radius there, but she does not escape the detection of my friendly Shokaku. He swings back around to make sure that we spot her again. And enemy Kitakaze, I mean, again, in a fair fight, even after she had taken some more damage from my teammates, I think Kitakaze still would have wiped the floor with me if she was expecting it. So, thanks to the element of surprise there, I mean, she meant to make a clean getaway. And CV did not allow that for her. So... it was very good that that Shokaku saw that and reacted so quickly to the situation, and that I was able to capitalize on it. Excuse me. So here we are, 42,000 damage. Again, all destroyers looking pretty good, and we've had the B cap pretty much this entire time, aside from a handful of seconds where Shimakaze was contesting it. And now the match is over, more than half over. Already looking really good for our team, but I don't want to be out of the fight yet. You know, I did my job and I protected B, but there's still the A cap to worry about, and the enemy team has no more destroyers. So I don't have to be quite as cautious. I mean, I have to be a little cautious of the Yorktown, but it has bigger targets to worry about. You know, we have 2 Grosser Kurfürsts on our team, as well as well, we had a Jean Bart, we still have an Amagi, still have a Yamato, so he's not worried about me. So right now I'm kind of weighing my options here. I expect Sevastopol to go around the island to my right, and I kind of want to back up and use my torpedoes. But she ends up turning out, so I decide to open fire on the Bourgeon instead, not knowing that her secondaries can reach that far. that was kind of a misplay on my part, especially because it catches me on fire here. Now luckily I can damage con that and, you know, be fine, but certainly this was, I'm sure we would have won in either case, but that's just an example of egoing, you know, or greeding. wanted to get that extra fire set. He also damage cons it, so not a big deal. But now it's just down to the enemy Sevastopol and the Bourgeon. I'm not gonna lie, I really want it. You know, I want those kills. Who could resist the call of a Kraken Unleashed, right? I'm not expecting to get those kills, however, because I mean I figure Yamato's probably got Bourgeon handled, and Kurfürst or Schultz, I'm not really sure. One of them is probably going to handle the Sevastopol, but no, I actually managed to get into range, and you know what? That HE just does a shitload of damage. I'm running IFHE, of course, on this, so not as many fires, but the raw damage, just from the sheer volume of shells on the Harugumo line is something crazy. Now, I'm not going to get away with the same technique on the Bourgeon, and it's not necessary that I do. I mean, I don't even have to kill this thing. The victory is pretty much assured at this point, but I do have torpedoes coming up here, so I figure some there, and use my last reload booster, a couple more to the right, just in case he turns back around. I mean, he could either go far left behind the island, in which case, you know, my torpedoes can't hit him, so I might as well cover more space to the right in case he turns back this way. Which is exactly what he does. And there's the Kraken. All in all, just shy of 75,000 damage, Kraken Unleashed. Only those 2 torpedo hits, no other torpedo hits up until that point. 170 shells though. And you know, when you have IFHE, you don't get a whole lot of shatters. That's a lot of raw damage right there happening. Kitakaze, guys, if you've not played the Japanese gunboat destroyers before, I highly recommend them. I was playing Kitakaze because, you know, some of the more veteran players already saw this coming. I was grinding for research points. The Harugumo line is the cheapest line in the game in terms of experience required to research it all the way through. So therefore, that is the most optimal line to grind, to do line resets, and to get research points. Right now I'm trying to get Hector, and I'm also trying to get Siegfried to do a comparison with Aegir. But honestly, I mean, if I didn't enjoy these ships, I would just pick the second cheapest line in the game, and if I didn't like them, I would pick the third cheapest, etc., etc. But the fact of the matter is, the Harugumo line is actually really fun, specifically the Tier 8 Akizuki and the Tier 9 Kirakaze. I mean, these ships are actually really fun to replay. The pure damage potential is just through the roof. And also the cap contesting and just the general utility. I mean, it doesn't have a lot of utility in a literal sense of, like, consumables. I mean, it has its own smoke generator, of course, and a torpedo reload booster, but it doesn't have radar, it doesn't have hydro, it doesn't have anything fancy. It's actually a pretty plain Jane line of ships. But being able to go into a cap circle alone, even with full confidence, and come out the other side alive and ready to play into the mid and end game is really something that you just don't feel in enough ships in this game. I mean, it's everyone knows there are plenty of ships that will give you that feeling. Kirakaze is one of them. So if you've never tried this line before, I highly recommend it. If you have never grinded for research points before, that's as good as any line to get started with. Well, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and look forward to the next episode of Abandoned Ship coming out this upcoming Saturday. I'm going to try to put out one episode every week, every Saturday. We'll see. Don't know how long I'll be able to keep that up for, but I do have a backlog of ships that I've wanted to talk about for a long time that are decidedly bad ships, good candidates for that series. I'm very much looking forward to it, and I hope you are too. See you next time.